Today, we are talking about a word that can genuinely change your life: strategy. And no, I don't mean some boring corporate buzzword. I'm talking about a personal framework, a real world tool for actually achieving what you want. We're going to break down how you can go from feeling totally stuck to building a clear, powerful path forward. So let's dive in. So let me ask you this. Does this sound familiar? You're working hard, right? You're putting in the hours, you're always busy, always moving. But when you actually stop and look back, you feel like you're in the exact same spot you were a year ago. It's that treadmill feeling. So much effort, but you haven't actually gone anywhere. And this analogy just nails it. It perfectly captures the problem. One of our sources put it this way: I was like a person rowing with all his might, only the boat was tied to the shore. Wow, all that energy, all that sweat, for nothing, because the boat was never untied. And this is the point, right? Most of us don't fail because we're not talented or because we don't work hard. We fail because we don't have a strategy. Okay, so let's get into our first section, running in circles. This is all about that feeling, that cycle of being busy without making any real progress. You know, there are really two ways to live your life. On the left, you've got the reactive life. This is where you're just putting out fires, lurching from one problem to the next. It feels like you're doing a lot, but it's really just an illusion of movement. But on the right, that's the strategic approach. That's where you're thinking several moves ahead, like a chess player. You're making conscious, directed progress. You're not just answering to your circumstances, you are creating them. Which brings us to section 2. So, what is strategy really? And let's be clear, we're talking about something way bigger than just a to-do list. It's a fundamental shift in how you see everything. Here's a great, simple definition for you. A strategy is a system of decisions, and all of those decisions serve one single, primary, long-term goal. The magic word here is alignment. It means that every little thing you do today is a brick in the foundation of the future you're trying to build. It's making sure today's work actually serves tomorrow's vision. And this really drives that last point home. A to-do list? That's just activity. Its focus is on this week, maybe this month. You measure success by how busy you are. But a strategy? That's about progress. Its focus is 1, 5, even 10 years out. The goal isn't just to get things done, it's to build a foundation. You can be the busiest person in the world, but if none of it adds up, you're just spinning your wheels. So how do you stop spinning your wheels? Well, as this fantastic proverb says, you have to choose. You just can't hold 10 watermelons in one hand. It's impossible. And that's the heart of strategy. It's about making a choice. And you know what? Choice always means sacrifice. It means saying no to a bunch of good ideas so you have the time and energy for that one great idea. You've got to pick your watermelon. So, really, any good strategy just comes down to answering these 3 core questions. First, where am I going? Be specific. What's the actual destination? Second, what is the path? You need a map to get there. And third, and this is the one everybody wants to skip, what will I sacrifice? What's the price? Because every big goal has one. If you don't answer that last question, the first 2 are basically just a daydream. All right, on to section 3, how to build your path. Let's move from the what to the how. It's time to get practical. Okay, here are the first 4 steps you need to take. Step 1, define your destination with crystal clarity. Be successful is not a destination, it's a wish. Launch my own graphic design business and hit 6 figures in revenue by 2029, that's a destination. Step 2, assess where you are right now. And you've got to be brutally honest with yourself. What are your skills, your weaknesses? Step 3, choose your main direction, your one watermelon. This is where you start saying no. And step 4, break it down. A 5-year goal feels huge, but you can build it 1 month, 1 year at a time. Now, a plan is nothing if you don't have the systems to support it. Discipline is everything. Motivation comes and goes, but those daily, kind of boring habits, that's what builds empires. Then there's risk management. You have to be a grown-up about this. What's your plan B? Your environment is also absolutely crucial. The people around you can either be wind in your sails or an anchor holding you back. And finally, review your strategy. It's not carved in stone. You've got to check in every 6 to 12 months and make sure you're still on the right track. And please, remember this. This is so important. Direction is always more important than speed. Our culture celebrates hustle, speed, grinding, but all that frantic energy without the right direction just leads to burnout and dead ends. It is so much better to move slowly on the right path than to sprint full speed toward a cliff. So, what happens when you start living this way? Well, that brings us to our final section, section 4, the architect's mindset.
This is the profound mental shift that happens when you take control.
This is the real superpower of having a strategy. It gives you this incredible internal stability. Look, you're gonna fail. Everyone does. But your response to failure is what changes. Without a strategy, when you fall, you blame the world. You blame your boss, the economy, whatever. But with a strategy, when you fall, it's just data. It's feedback. You look at what happened, you adjust your course, and you keep going.
And it all comes down to this. This is the big takeaway. Strategy is the tool that lets you stop just watching your life happen to you and start intentionally designing the life you actually want to live. It's the difference between being a passive observer and becoming the active architect of your own destiny.
So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Looking at your own 5-year goal, your destination, what's the one thing you absolutely must change starting today to get on the right path? Answering that, well, that's your first strategic move. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer.